right there. Boom, boom, boom. Share this. We're gonna share it in the groups.
Yeah, we need somebody to do this for us. We don't have this 5-minute delay right at the beginning of the show, especially since your guy that's doing the podcast includes all of this in the podcast.
Yeah, I know. You seen that too?
Yeah,
he's been cutting out the previous ones though. Maybe said what's that? Not was there. Sorry about that, guys. Everybody's jumping on. This one's second video of the night, rolling them out. Yeah, sorry about that. It was a little bit of a delay. The computer reset and messed up everything. Like I was like 45 minutes ahead of time, doing everything, and then all of a sudden just reset, do everything. BeeJay, do too. I'm gonna promote all your stuff, like all your information down in the description after the video, and put all your stuff in, like your links and your YouTube channel. I seen that you had a YouTube channel. I didn't know you had one.
Yeah. Trying to make something of it when I got time, so I needed more, but you know.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hey guys, do me a favor if you can share this link in the groups for us, or just bump it up so people know that it's where it's at, since it started a little bit late and people are going to get lost.
Yeah, go ahead and just give the video a thumbs up and go ahead and share it. It should pop up on everybody's stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. What's going on, guys? Hey, what's up, Lance? What's up, Ray? What's going on, Ariel?
Yeah, what's up? Oh, got some fans in here, BeeJay. Jason Baker, he's a big fan of yours.
Oh, thanks, man.
Cool Man's in here. Nas is in here. All right, cool. Everybody's hopping on. That troll came back and give the video a thumbs down. Falik, what's up? So this is we put the event to start to happen. Someone came in and gave the video a thumbs down the first time we were trying to do this. So it was pretty funny. So I was like, man, what the heck?
Video wasn't even live yet. Not a thumbs down.
Mm-hmm.
You ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. Sorry about the delay, BeeJay. Go ahead and get into this. We start with our last 7 days. You don't have to say yours if you don't want to. So last 7 days, 382 shirts sold at $952 in royalties.
Nice. Last 7 days for me, I don't have it open, but I think it's like 189 for like 550 or something, somewhere in that range.
So I'm not as baller as you guys, but 93 products sold, 347.80.
Cool. All right. So we have BeeJay DeLong with us on the show tonight, guys. For those of you that don't know BeeJay, he is a pretty talented artist. He makes some really, really cool stuff. And this is something that always excites me because we talk to a lot of people that outsource things and that, don't necessarily do the designing themselves. So it's always nice to have a professional designer or illustrator come on and talk about like what he sees in terms of design and what he's looking for when he makes things. Because I think it really opens up people's eyes to the fact that like there is a process, there's a science, more of a science along with the art when it comes to creating these things.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
So why don't you get into your background a little bit, BeeJay? How'd you get started with all this?
So I've been doing full-time freelance for about the last 2 years now, professionally. Went to school for graphic design and kind of got lured away by the sweet siren song of retail management. Mm-hmm. So I did retail management for like 20 years. And this is something I've always done on the side and something I always wanted to do professionally full time. And then kind of hit that stage where it's like, all right, I got to get something going on this. So started going on it hard, and waited till I got to the point to where I could do it and get enough clients built up to where I was making what I was making at my full-time job on the side. And then once I was able to do that, then I jumped in full time. So yeah, about 2 years now. Been in merch since January of this year. Okay. So doing it for, about 11 months now.
Right.
Cool. So when it comes to freelance, like or is there like a certain platform that you're on, or are you just like self-promoting yourself, or how are you doing that?
Yeah, freelance, honestly, it's just self-promoting, using every option available. So all social media, Instagram, Twitter, everything else. I've been really big into doing card games. So using Board Game Geek to kind of pimp my services out and stuff like that. Just every opportunity available, man. Like, I know you guys hustle and stuff like that, but when it's like freelance and you got to depend on self-promotion, it's constant. That's all you do is just get out there and hustle and put your name out. So
I gotcha. So let's get into the board game thing, just because I feel like it's an interesting segue into merch, right? Like, so if you're doing stuff with card games and board game stuff, like, what are you typically doing? Is there a particular niche that you're getting hit, or are you doing all kinds of stuff?
Honestly, doing all kinds of stuff. It's mostly I work in a few different types of styles, so it's mostly in like the cartoon style that I do. So kind of make a name for yourself on a certain style, and then people see that and start hitting you up and, wanting stuff based on that style. So, it's been pretty awesome. Past, couple of years, I think I'm on like my 6th or 7th game right now. So, it's been pretty busy, pretty lucrative. So, it's fun too. 'Cause I mean, you're doing absolutely everything. Most people will have like an idea for a game, but then you're doing like the character design, you're doing everything behind the game. They've got the rules and the play and everything like that, and they've got a base idea that they want. But you're going from start to finish on character design, how these characters look, how they interact with each other, the whole feel, the look of everything. So it's pretty awesome.
Okay. And then what are you using to like do your design work? Is it Illustrator?
No, actually, I use Illustrator. I mostly use Illustrator for text, though. I don't like Illustrator for drawing just because it's so mechanical. My stuff is really, I like a nice flow to the lines and just the work with your hand. And with Illustrator, you got to use the anchor points and maneuver stuff. So I do almost all my work now on the iPad, the iPad Pro, and then you can't do everything on the iPad. Despite what Apple wants you to think that it's like a laptop replacement. So I do everything on the iPad, and then I'll transfer it into Photoshop or Illustrator to fine tune the stuff that I can't do. So I use Procreate on the iPad, which is a phenomenal app. It is so good. It's really streamlined, and just the workflow and everything is so built just for the iPad that it goes so smooth, and it's just fantastic. I love it so much.
Right. Do you like that pencil?
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play with it. Yeah, my buddy keeps trying to tell me I need to buy a Surface too.
I had a Surface. I started out on the Surface actually for like a tablet. I had Wacom tablets before, and then got the Surface initially. But number one, it ran super hot. You could do everything on it. Don't get me wrong. Surface is awesome for that. You can install all desktop apps. I mean, it's a computer, but it ran super hot. Battery life was crap. So the iPad came out. I tried that, and the pencil's awesome. The pressure sensitivity is on point. It's so good. So I've switched completely over to that. Did not upgrade though. That's one of the things that my newest YouTube video talked about, because Apple pissed me off about that. They had the new iPads come out. I was ready to drop, $1,300 on a new iPad, and then it came out and they didn't say anything about it. But then reviewers started talking about it, and the 1 terabyte version is the only version that has 6 gigs of RAM. Everything else has the 4 gigs, which I've got the first gen iPad Pro and it had 4 gigs. So like 3 years later, something should change, and I didn't want to pay the $1,900 for the 1 terabyte version. So I don't know. I'll see if prices come down or, how stuff works out, but I love my first gen one. I'm cool with that.
Right. Now, do you find you're taking some of the concepts and the ideas that you have with these games, these card games, are you bringing those into merch in terms of like the niches that you're going after?
I mean, a little bit, not too much. I don't like to mix things too much just because I like to keep things separate, and obviously I do some freelance stuff for merch people as well. And, if they give me an idea and stuff, I'm not going to steal their ideas and stuff like that. So I kind of keep it separate. Some of the stuff like the one I've been working on right now, the unicorns versus zombies. Obviously, unicorns and zombies are big. I'm going to use both of those because I mean they're just kind of ubiquitous with like cool pop culture stuff.
Right.
So, but other than that, yeah, I really kind of keep them separate. So
nice.
Okay. Yeah. Kim in the chat was saying that you have a nice collection in the background.
I don't even know. This is the first time I've been on this live. Like, how do I pull up the chat?
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. I can send it.
So do I pull up two separate windows?
Yeah, so we open it up on I have one window open with YouTube and the other one has the actual Hangout on. I can drop it. There's a chat here in Hangouts. Let me drop it in here for you.
Yeah, they sent out the
Newfangled technology, I swear to God.
So everything's good? Jack Browning said that the sound's off. Fernando says it sounds good. If you guys are just jumping on, if you guys can go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, we'll actually have BeeJay's YouTube and Instagram down below after the show. If you guys are catching the replay, it'll be down below in the description. Got some very creative stuff on his Instagram and just on YouTube. From the looks of it, I haven't really checked out his YouTube. I'll check that out later on. But like a lot of creative stuff, you guys can just check it out. Like his illustration work seems pretty amazing. I actually put some of your stuff in my stories on Instagram, BeeJay, earlier, and I got a lot of comments on it. They're like, "Wow, this guy's dope as fuck." Yeah, he's pretty dope. So that's pretty cool, man. Just to getting people to stop on my Instagram because they want to check out your works. There's probably some people here watching from Instagram just to see what type of person you are or something like that. So
how did you hear about merch?
Merch initially, I had posted. I'm huge into podcasts, so like I'll sit at my desk, I'll do my freelance work, and just basically listen to podcasts. So I had done like a fan art piece for a podcast, and they had posted on their official page. Of course, they've got how many thousands upon thousands of subscribers or followers. So that went viral. And then I had somebody from TeePublic, somebody in their like community management page, reach out to me and say, "Hey, this is awesome. Have you ever thought about putting your designs on TeePublic?" Which I hadn't at the time. So I looked in TeePublic and saw like royalty rates were kind of trash and was like, "Oh, well, this sounds cool, but like royalty's kind of bad." So I started looking into other stuff and found merch and went ahead and applied back in, I think it was October or November last year, and then got approved in January, just because reading stuff and seeing videos and whatnot, like the royalty rates were so much better. And with TeePublic, people are complaining that there's constant sales going on, so then your royalties drop and stuff like that. So I just went ahead and kind of went all in with merch. I'm still on TeePublic and do stuff on Redbubble, but honestly, like I just focus on merch more than anything else. I need to put everything else on those sites, but just time constraints, I haven't done everything yet. So everything I first and foremost goes to merch. So
I mean, merch is going to give you the most traffic for sure.
Right.
And Redbubble's a bitch to upload to.
So what type of podcast do you listen to, if you don't mind me asking?
Everything, honestly. Big into all of the Kevin Smith podcasts. So my most favorite main one is Tell 'em Steve Dave. And then listen to all of Kevin's podcasts. The one that I did the fan art for, the one viral, was My Favorite Murder, which two chicks that basically just talk about murders, true crime stuff, which is cool because I've always sat and listened to these podcasts, and my wife always rolls her eyes like, "Oh, you're listening to another podcast," and she's into true crime. So when I played her that one now, that's all we listen to together. So if we're like rolling to the grocery store or hanging out in the kitchen cooking food, she's like, "Turn on the podcast." So, we turn on that. So it's kind of cool. So those, and listen to Rogan, and there's a bunch of different like art podcasts that are pretty cool that I listen to too. So
I'm into that type of stuff too, like documentaries or anything like crime related stuff. That's a big thing of mine too.
Yeah, right on.
So when you're let's bring this back to merch for a second. When you're designing for merch, what is giving you the ideas in terms of what you want to do? Like, what kind of research are you doing? Are you just making cool shit? Or are you actually going out there and trying to figure out like niches that are selling?
Combination of everything, honestly. Subscribe to Merch Informer, so use that. You know, been listening, like I said, podcast. First people I found was on the merch thing were Glenn and Young, and then found you guys, you know, afterwards and stuff like that. So, you know, watching your videos and learning stuff from that, and then also, like you said, just making cool shit, just figuring out stuff and learning as I go along. It's definitely a learning process. The merch thing for illustrators, from what I found when they first get in, illustrators have like a certain mindset, and merch is something totally different. So you've got to kind of adjust where you're at and what you would usually do. It's definitely a different game for illustrators because the same shit that you're used to doing isn't necessarily going to sell.
Yep.
So that's been an adjustment period that, you know, I've had to make over the past year, and I think I'm getting better at and kind of learning more what the customer wants, the community wants, and stuff like that as far as the shoppers. So
right. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, it's something that we talked about with Jose Fernandez, and I think he does a good job of explaining it. Like the different sites have kind of a different you know, aspect that they're looking for, like a different vibe. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain buyer that's buying on Amazon versus a buyer that's buying on Rebel versus a buyer that's buying on some of these other sites.
Okay, so because you're an illustrator, so now like your creativity is like on a whole different level. So like your mindset, like with your research part of it, you just use Merch Informer. That's it. You don't use any other type of websites or anything like that for inspiration.
Well, yeah, I mean, I use Merch Informer, but then also just just seeing what's popular in pop culture, seeing where stuff's going, seeing like using Reddit, seeing, you know, what's trending on Reddit and stuff like that. Obviously trending designs are awesome. If you can jump on something right away,
right,
you're going to be, you know, pretty awesome. Sales wise, like I caught one trend like right the day it was happening, and it caught on, and it's been one of my top sellers for the past like month and a half, 2 months. And there's, you know, when I first loaded it, there was no other designs based around it because I hit it the first day, and now there's like close to 300, 400, 500. And of course my one's the top one with all the reviews, and I've had to put like 30 different infringements takedowns for pixels and all that stuff. So like I talked to Young about that, and I was like, man, these people, like, they're ballsy, like,
yeah,
just not even caring. And some people, like, they don't even realize, like, people talk about pixel for pixel, and then they go in and they like change one color. And it's like, no, it's still my design, dude. You can't do that. So
right, something you created.
Yeah, but you know, stuff like that, just, you know, finding that hot thing before it gets hot. Facebook's good for that. I think I'm kind of lucky because even though I skew older, like I've got a lot of like my kids' friends that are on my Facebook that I see stuff that they post. And so I'm kind of hip to the cool stuff before it hits like mainstream, which is kind of awesome. So yeah, just using that stuff. And then, like I said, Merch Informer too. So
right.
Here's a question. So do you like dabbing designs? Do you have any?
I'm not going to lie. I've got dabbing designs up because they sell. And if I can do them better than the stuff's up, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll do them and throw some AMS ads. And yeah, you know, I don't care. I'll do dabbing.
Okay. What do you have, like, so as far as like do you have more text-based designs, or what do you have, a mix of like a 50-50?
I've got, yeah, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Like, honestly, it's probably like a 60-40, 70-30 of like graphic illustration based versus text based. Of course, when I first started out, it was all like, oh, I'm going to do like all these awesome designs. And then once I started doing text based ones and then they started selling, I was like, okay, well, if I can do a design and a text based design in like 10-15 minutes to make something awesome versus, you know, a few hours for, you know, an illustration design, obviously I need to focus on both and do the text base. So it's definitely been kind of like a juggling situation between the two. So but yeah, it's about like 60-40, 70-30.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a balance there. You're doing the text based in Illustrator, then you're not doing it like hand lettering or stuff on the iPad.
A little bit of both. Yeah, depending on what the design and what it calls for. If it's something that I can do like hand lettering for and it's going to look awesome and it's going to like play to the design, I will. But obviously hand lettering takes time. So if there's not that return on investment of time, like I might as well just, you know, do it in Illustrator. So
for sure. If somebody wanted to like get started and do some of their own work in terms of like illustration or start learning about it, like where would you start? Like what would be a YouTube channel, a resource, something to kind of pick up on?
Oh my God, there's honestly so many on YouTube. And it really depends on the style of illustration you want to do. Just because there's so many good avenues out there to go into on YouTube. I mean, all these free things. I see a lot of people like, posting Udemy courses on illustration and stuff like that they're, taking, which is cool. I mean, that's not a problem, but man, you can get so much stuff for free on YouTube. It's just absolutely crazy. So honestly, finding a YouTube channel, just go through, watch some videos, see what style like kind of gels with you and what you want to do, and kind of going from there. That's one of the things. There are some good courses out there, don't get me wrong, but definitely research them before you have to pay for them and know what you're getting into. So
yeah, that's pretty interesting. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and get the questions ready for BeeJay, because like honestly, like to scale your business to the next level, this is what I talked about at the merch conference that I went to when I was speaking on stage. Illustration was a big part of what I was speaking about up there, and I actually had a few people that were actually like making designs when I was on stage because of like the information I was giving out. So this right here, like having him on the show is very big because you can learn so much just from him. I'm pretty sure he knows a lot. He does have a YouTube channel too below. I mean, he does have a YouTube channel. I'll put that down below a little bit later on. So
yeah. So what are your goals? I mean, obviously you're freelancing right now, right? So what are your goals on merch? Like, is this something that's going to be a side hustle for you along with your freelance stuff? Do you see it being something, hopefully eventually it's going to surpass the freelance stuff?
Honestly, I want to kind of keep them split. I still like doing the freelance stuff just because I like that customer interaction. Okay. So when I've got clients and, the back and forth and, I like bouncing ideas off of people and stuff like that. That kind of comes from, the 2 decades that I spent in retail, just having that interaction. So I still want to do that. Obviously keep growing it. On tier 2000 right now. So, just keep bouncing up the tiers and going from there is pretty much the main goal. I don't see myself only doing merch. I see myself, always doing separate things. So, in addition to that, I also do a part-time teaching gig. I work at a nonprofit here in town teaching graphic design. So that's kind of rewarding because you get to go in 3 days a week and kind of give back to the community and stuff like that. So that's still cool. Want to do that. And yeah, kind of just see me having like my hands in like absolutely everything that I can. It's fun. Yeah. You don't get bored that way too. So
yeah. Are you somebody that like you get bored easily?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, kind of.
So I've got to like, constantly do everything. Yeah, like with art, I do the digital stuff, but I still do like watercolor and painting and sculpting and everything else. So I've got to do absolutely everything, or else, yeah, I'll just go mad and gotta always have something new. So
right. Now, when you're designing, are you uploading to just shirts? Are you uploading to everything? A little bit of both.
Usually I just start out with shirts. From there, I'll wait and see how sales go. And then if something takes off, makes a few sales, then I'll usually upload across to the rest. But I don't usually start out with everything. I'll just start out with the shirts and see where it goes. So I'm lucky with that. I'm kind of picky about the stuff that I put up, so I don't have a lot of stuff falling off. I usually have at least a sale or a couple sales off of everything that I've got up. So like I said, I just tiered up 2,000. I've got like about 1,050 or something like that live right now. So not seeing like a ton of stuff fall off is kind of nice, knowing that I'm not going to have to go back in and re-upload and
right.
Go on, so.
It's interesting. All of the artists that I talk to, people that are genuine artists that do a lot of their own creation, they typically have low numbers up on merch in terms of like their total numbers uploaded, but it's the same situation. Like they're generally quality, their stuff that's not falling off. And I really think it's something people should pay attention to. I think way too often people get attached to like, I'm tier 8,000 or I'm tier 10,000 or whatever, right? But then you've got 2,000 shirts falling off in a month. It's just it's like you're a hamster on the wheel. You're just chasing yourself. You know what I mean? Right. Quality trumps quantity all the time.
Now, quick question. So if you, I'm thinking like when you do like when you get finished with the design, when you upload it and stuff, do you purchase it yourself a lot of the times? You find yourself purchasing a lot of your shirts a lot of the times?
I do. If it's something that I like, and that's one thing I was going to bring up, that I know some people have talked about it before, but a lot of people, like, I've heard, like, I don't know how the quality is, I've never purchased my shirt. Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
I understand if you're going into a niche that you have no interest of, but seriously, like, I'll buy my shirts and wear them to the goddamn grocery store. Why? Because every single time, like, somebody stops and says something about the shirt. And that's one of the best pieces of advice I can give too. Like, if you're doing like some baller designs and you've got good art and people are going to stop you, what I do, I got business cards printed up and I will hand them out. Like, I'll sit there, talk about the shirt, like, oh, thanks, man, it's one of mine, and da da da. Explain merch, explain what I'm doing, and then hand them a card that's got my contact information on it, but it's also got my merch stuff on there. And then you might make some sales off of shirts like that. But then also too, I've done it and I've gotten, you know, clients off of it to where like, right. Oh, so you make sure, like, I've got this reunion coming up and we're looking like, can you design like a logo or an image for that? And then we're going to buy like 30 shirts. So the fact that some of these people don't buy their own shirts, it's stupid. Like, you're a walking billboard for yourself. So like, have pride in your stuff. If your stuff isn't good enough to put on a shirt, why would you expect other people to buy it? You know? So yeah, I do that. I've got a closet full of my shirts. It sounds shitty because I know some artists are like, oh, I don't want to, you know, oh, it's weird to put. No, do it. Like, if you're proud of your stuff, do it. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've probably got 30 or 40 shirts. The part of it too is like, especially when you're starting out, like understanding how the colors actually look on the shirt versus how they look on the screen, like all that stuff. It's really important because it makes a difference. Especially for the end user, when they're going to leave you a good review, which really matters in your sales. Like, you want to make sure the shirt looks as close as possible to what they're actually seeing on the screen. But I really like what you're talking about there too. Like, talk to people, right? Like, it's a novel concept for a lot of our audience, I think. But when people are struggling for sales, like, it makes such a big difference when you can actually just go out there and talk to people and sell your stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that comes from my retail background. Like, I'm just used to talking to people in especially a store environment. Like, just go up and have a conversation. It doesn't matter. And yeah, promote yourself while you're out, you know, you're trying to spend all this time on, you know, Instagram or Twitter promoting yourself, but you're out like in the real world where you can actually make an impact and make an impression on people. So why not use that time wisely, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Amy and Fernando said that you're amazing artists.
Thanks, Amy and Fernando. I love you guys.
Show some love, man.
Explain your cupcake hoodie. I don't want to explain my cupcake hoodie.
I don't want.
No, that was an area of contention in the trademark watchdogs group. Was one of the trademarks that were filed was the guy that owns this company. So I got into it on stuff.
Okay.
No, Johnny Cupcakes.
Yeah, I vaguely remember.
Don't know him? Look him up. He's awesome. Yeah, he's killing it, man. Apple has him out to their campus to do talks, and if you want to see somebody that's doing it right, like as far as branding and just making a brand that like sticks and resonates with people, like Johnny Cupcakes is absolutely killing it. And he's got a bunch of people that he works with. I mean, he's got licenses with like Hello Kitty and Marvel, and he does some crazy shit. So definitely check him out.
All right, you said kind of my favorite word, or my word of the moment, brand. Do you see yourself doing something like that? You know, trying to build your own brand with your own style?
Branding. Yeah, I mean, okay, so branding. Number one with branding. Okay. I see a lot of people like in the groups that are like, oh, should I trademark my brand? And, you know, blah, blah, blah. If you're branding to just brand, like make a brand out of your brand name, don't, because nobody fucking cares. Like, correct. Honestly, if you're making something, you need to make it around what niche or whatever you're doing. If you're making, let's say, like, I'm just looking up bright light. So if you're making bright light tees and you're just putting bright light tees and like doing like a logo, and then you're expecting people to buy your tees. They're not going to do it. It has nothing that resonates with them. And honestly, like merch is a numbers game. So the amount of time that it's going to take you to go on social media, the amount of money it's going to take you to advertise, to create a brand identity that resonates with people, you could be taking all that time, all that money, all that effort into actually making more shirts. It's going to make you more money, because at the end of the day, once that's done, like your brand that you're making that doesn't actually pertain to any interests of anybody is not going to be anywhere. So that's my thing. Like I use pretty much like 2 to 3 different brands across merch. So with my stuff, I've got 2 to 3 different styles that I use. I've got my cartoon based, more like illustration style. I've got what I call like more like the Hot Topic, like band t-shirt designs. I think you guys saw that. That was like my skull thing that I posted the other day with the wings. So I've got that, and then I keep another brand for pretty much just like the throwaways. So that's kind of my idea, is if you've got a certain brand that people look at and they know, okay, this is X brand, and can look at it and identify, that's when you need a brand. So if you're going and you're hiring illustrators, try to get an illustrator that you can work with solely that's going to make all your stuff. So when people see your stuff on merch, if they see your stuff on Redbubble or whatever, and you make a brand around that, once they see that brand, they know what it's going to look like. A good, I guess, example of that is it Leak or Lick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there, you see their stuff on merch, you know, like you see it and you know, okay, that's Leak. Like, you know, if you're working with like multiple illustrators and you're putting it under one brand, it might kind of get messy. So try to work with one illustrator. If you can work with multiple, see if they can do something similar to where you start building like a brand recognition and brand identity. And that's why, like with mine, I don't put them all under one, because I work in those different styles. And I know like people that like A aren't necessarily going to like B, even though I'm doing all of them. There's no reason to group them together. So keep them separate.
Right. Yeah, my question was more on not necessarily on Amazon, because personally I feel like it's really difficult to brand on Amazon. Like it's just really hard to take advantage of all the things with brand. More about off of Amazon, right? Like, do you see yourself trying to do something in a particular style or particular niche where you would actually want to build a brand?
To be honest, no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's difficult. There's so many people that are trying to do it right now, and you know, it's almost like winning the lottery. Like it's like one in however many, to where I know a lot of people that have huge followings on like Instagram and stuff like that don't even do the brand type thing. To where I don't think it's worth the time unless you've got like some killer idea that you know is going to catch on. And then like, really, how do you know it's going to catch on? It's just, like I said, buying a lottery ticket and hoping that it works. I kind of like the current model that I'm going with, and just doing what I'm doing now. You know, trying to make a brand like that is such like a crapshoot. So
it's crazy right now because there's like a lot of people with big followings on Instagram, and they don't know what they have. Like they're still stuck. Like I know a few people that have over 100K in following, and then just like, can you give my shirt a shout out? And they're like, yeah, it costs like $60. I was like, dude, I would be charging like $1,000 for this right here for a shout out like this. But a lot of people don't understand it, and they don't know how to monetize and turn it into a brand. So like when you have like a following like that, it's very, very powerful, and a lot of people don't understand it. They just have to promote it more. I think honestly with illustration, like with your design work and stuff like that, you have a very unique style, and a lot of people like show appreciation to that. So like I think for this is what I'm getting. You're very unique, and you can create a brand where no one can compete with you. That's my personal opinion when it comes to stuff like that, man. So
I appreciate it. Maybe it's something I should look into.
Because no, but honestly, like there's no competition. You know what I mean? It's like no competition with you. Like I can't compete with you because I fucking suck at designing. You know what I mean? And that's the truth. It's like, but I have the idea. The idea is there. So yeah.
Yeah.
Also, too, let me talk to him after this show. I can probably get you talking with that Leak or whatever that design, the brand that you said.
Yeah.
You guys can kind of like, I'm pretty sure you guys will kind of have some interesting conversation together. So I can kind
I
of
like honestly, I like how whoever it is, I like how they're doing stuff, man. Like, just the way that it's targeted with the brand names. That's why I always use a brand name, and I kind of use the same philosophy that they're using is. I know, one of the other huge one is, Triple G Mavs. But when you click on their, the brand name, like it brings up like 90 million results. So when somebody's like, oh, I like that shirt and click on the brand name, like there's no way that they're going to find another shirt like without digging that they're going to like. So like the way Leak does it, making the brand name Leak Unicorn or Leak Dinosaur or Leak Thanksgiving, it's cool because it's still under the Leak brand. But if somebody's searching for a dinosaur shirt, then they can click on that brand and they're going to find all the dinosaur shirts from that same brand if they like the style. And that's the same thing like I was talking about. Like all the results that come up are all that style. So
yeah, there's a lot of this stuff is like I see it on Facebook and it's like targeting me. I'm just like, dude, it's like the people that are stealing stuff like don't even care, not even caring either. You know what I mean? That's the messed up part about it. So that's another thing though too. Like as an illustrator, like how do you feel when someone copies her? This is a very interesting topic right here. How do you feel when someone copies your stuff pixel for pixel? How do you feel?
Oh man, it pisses me off more than anything else. Like honestly, the pixel for pixel stuff sucks, and I don't know. I'm thinking like the small change stuff sucks even more. Like really, you're just gonna like change a color and think that's cool? Like at least the pixel for pixel stuff, I assume those people know, like, yeah, I'm just a straight up thief, but maybe the other people think, oh, well, I did work on this. So, it's like, fuck you. No, you didn't do work. Like I did the work. You just changed the color, changed the hue in Illustrator or Photoshop. So yeah, it's pretty disheartening. But then again, too, at the same time, like it's kind of cool sending that infringement report and knowing that they wake up to that shit in their email. It's like, yeah. So
it's always
that makes me happy. Yeah,
it's a good feeling when you get the return email too that we've pulled down, this, and this.
Yeah, I have not gotten any of the follow-up emails like asking, from the culprit, like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, can we?
I've never got those either.
I see that in the groups, and I want one so bad. Like, I have like a whole like prepared speech that I'm gonna send through that I just need to copy and paste. But yeah, I haven't gotten one yet. And like I said, that one design I sent like 30 out in 2 weeks. So
right.
Yeah, because like once you get that trending design going, you can like here comes everybody. Like but a lot of people like as soon as you get that one design that's taken off, like you already have the competition coming already. So as far as like pricing wise, what's your strategy on that? What's your input on that?
So I know that was like a hot button in the groups the other day when somebody posted shit. So I do it a little bit different. Just because like I said, I do so much other stuff besides merch that I don't have like a huge amount of time to focus like strictly and watch all, the sales and the graphs and stuff. So what I do is my pricing strategy is this. It seems very basic, but it helps me. I start everything out at $14.99. As soon as it sells once at $14.99, I bump it up to $16.99. And then once it sells at $16.99, I'll bump it up to wherever after that. So just as I'm going down through my list under my manage tab, if it's at $14.99, I know it's never sold before. If it's at $16.99, I know it's sold once. And if it's higher than that, I know it's sold more than once. And that's basically it. So it just helps me going through that I can visualize instead of like going through and clicking on each one and checking a BSR to see if it has one or doesn't have one. I know exactly where it's at, if it's sold once, twice, or more than twice. I know I should probably like try some of them, leaving them lower for longer to see if I get more sales, get a higher BSR and stuff like that. But where I'm at, it's just so much easier, and I can visually look and know exactly where I'm at with each design.
Okay. Yeah, I've been noticing that too, man. Like, I have an illustrator that's on my team, and he has some really good like artwork and stuff like that. But like still like my number one design is just like a basic text design. I'm just like, dude, this design is badass, and people buy it, but just like the basic text design just sells more because it's very. I'm not even sure how to even say it.
When you're doing your illustrations, do you find yourself targeting like kids designs more? Is it kind of a mix?
Yeah, illustration wise, especially under my one brand, it's more kids designs. It's more that cartoony,
Right.
Stuff like that. Some of the other cartoony designs, I've like gone into the whole like drug weed thing with that, just because those seem to sell too. So, and that's one of the things too that I was going to talk about. Like honestly, like building a brand. One of the important things that I know is like if you've got a brand that's based around a certain style and stuff like that, like keep the drug stuff out of that brand, make a separate one for that. Any like profanity, keep that in a separate brand, and same thing with political stuff, like keep that all in a separate brand. Like really just develop that brand identity to where like if you're doing all that stuff, keep it out. So even though like most of my stuff is more like kids geared with the cartoons, doing the drugs thing does not go under that main brand at all, because you don't want somebody clicking through that and they're looking for like a whatever like hot rod like caricature cartoon car design, and all of a sudden they see a big pot plant next to it. They're gonna be like, what? I'm not buying this.
Sure. That's what we actually, me and Matt has a brand, a weed brand, and we've been testing. I've been waiting for him to add some stuff on there. Me and him have been having fun. I was like, look it, dude, maybe I'll create a brand underneath like one of your brands, or create a separate brand together, and we'll create like weed designs. So we've been messing with that a little bit. So it's pretty cool.
I'll throw some stuff up there. I've yet to design a single shirt for any of the weed stuff. I did a couple of the cursing ones just because it was fun to actually, send some fuck shirts through. But I haven't done anything with weed yet.
I've got a couple up. I didn't go crazy with it, but I went more crazy with the fuck shirts.
Yeah. You guys have any questions? Let's see if we can get some good questions in here. I definitely think that you guys should be asking questions about design, illustration. Like, he's a trained graphic designer. So if you have like design questions, it'd be a great spot to ask too. I think it's something that we don't talk about enough here on this show, actually, is, all of the stuff that goes into what a good design means.
Yeah, one of the things, honestly, if you guys are going to hire designers, number one, I know everybody said, I know RJ doesn't believe in this, but you've got to pay. So you're going to get quality for what you pay for. But honestly, if you're going to pay for designs, make sure it's something that you can scale. Yeah. I talk about this to my clients too, that come in, and if you're going to spend the money, don't spend the money on something that's going to go on one shirt and that's it. Like, honestly, it's a waste of money. So do something that you're going to be able to use across different designs, different niches or whatever. That's the best use of your money that you can spend. And then also too, if you're going to scale stuff, back to the whole, like trying to get one illustrator or two illustrators that look the same. So if you're going to, let's say you're going to pay an illustrator for a design of a dinosaur, and you're going to turn that dinosaur into like a Thanksgiving dinosaur, and then like a birthday dinosaur, and then a Christmas dinosaur. Instead of saying, okay, well, I paid for this dinosaur, now I'm going to go on Pixabay and get some clip art of some Santa hats. Yeah. That shit's not going to match up once you put this onto this. So pay the designer extra. Just have them do a sheet of like a Santa hat, a pilgrim hat, a party hat, all that stuff. So it's all in the same style. Don't pay them extra to do, a design with that on there. Just pay extra for the design sheet of all those extras that you're going to add in, and then do the legwork yourself, man. Like open up GIMP, open up Photoshop, whatever, and drop those elements in, but just make sure that they match up like the same style, because you can see that when you're looking at it. Even somebody that's not a graphic designer can see like, oh, that shit doesn't look the same. Like this doesn't look like this, and it looks like garbage when you do that. So do that, and then like I said, just scale stuff. So like I think one example earlier this year, I think around like summertime, there was the one of the shirts that was getting a lot of sales was the like barbecue pig shirt, like was it like rub my butt, pull my pork, or something like that. So case in point, like you could say, okay, I want to do this, and you could pay an illustrator to do like a pig design on 4 legs with the text around it, and you spend whatever to do that design. You got the design done, you throw it up in a sea of thousands or whatever. Instead, take that same idea, have the pig a cartoon, have it holding a sign in its hand, like a wooden sign with a pole it's holding, and then don't have the illustrator do anything to the sign. Just leave it blank. And then you can put the, rub my butt, pull my pork on that sign. You can put friends, not food. So you got a vegan shirt, you got a barbecue shirt, then you can put, eat turkey, you got a Thanksgiving shirt. You can do so much more with that one design. So if you're going to spend the money, make sure that it's getting you like 10, 15, 30, 40, 50 shirts out of that one design.
For sure. Yeah, that's really great advice. Like that is definitely one of the things, especially with like a high-end illustration, you definitely want to be able to use it more than once. I love the tip on the having them design other assets too, because that drives me nuts. Like I see it all the time. Like somebody has a really, really hot illustration and they just throw like a cheap Santa hat on top of it.
Yeah, you guys, BeeJay's over here telling all my secrets.
Sorry.
No, but you can tell like he's a creative, like by him saying that right there, you can tell by like his creativity, by thinking like outside the box. A lot of people don't even think about that. They think that we're spending $20 or $30 on a design and like overthinking it, like just make it very detailed and basic. You know what I mean? And if that makes sense, but
yeah, that's the thing too that I had to learn. Like basic is better in merch. I know a lot of people talk about like designing for the thumbnail, but like it's so true. I've done some killer designs that look like trash in the thumbnail, and they don't sell. So like the simpler, not really the simpler, but honestly, the simpler design, the better. Instead of going and like putting a ton of detail that's just going to get kind of just jumbled and garbage together on that thumbnail, like try to make it simple, try to make it stand out. Because when people are shopping, especially on mobile, like that's what they see and that's what they go with. We're not, using some site to where there's huge thumbnails. It's up to Amazon what they do, and we know they're small thumbnails, so use that size.
Right. I'm pretty sure I know your answer to this already, but what do you consider like the best tool to do hand lettering? You're pretty much doing all of that on the iPad, right?
Yeah, I do that all on iPad on Procreate. Procreate's cool too because they've got like with hand lettering especially, there's a canvas option. I'm trying to see. Let me pull up my iPad here. If you go to canvas options and I'm trying to think what it's actually called, drawing guide, you can actually lay out like a grid on top of, which really works good for hand lettering. So that's fantastic. And the strokes and like the pressure sensitivity and everything with Procreate, like you can get some awesome like tapers, and the new update on there too. They just added in like even more fine tuning on tapers. So
okay, so for cartoon illustration, what's the best book or best course you suggest?
Cartoon illustration.
What do you watch? Who do you watch?
There's a few different ones. Let me pull up some here. Oops.
If you're looking for an idea for a YouTube video, that'd probably be a good one for your channel too.
You'd probably kill it. Y'all know that video probably gets so many views, man.
I know one of the big like cartoon illustrators that's huge on YouTube is Jazza. That's all the clients in my studio, they watch him. For other illustrations, Will Terry is another good one. He does a lot of book illustrations. He actually has a course that he formed with these other artists. I'm trying to think of the name. I can look it up here. They actually have like a whole website. It's not on Udemy. It's like their own website and have like a monthly fee for like, I think it's like $15. You can access everything. The Society of Visual Storytelling. It's pretty fantastic. But yeah, you can buy the individual classes, or else you can do a thing, for 1 month. It's svslearn.com. Their stuff is pretty awesome. They've got some really good ones. And then of course you can go to my YouTube channel and I'll do some more stuff.
For sure.
There's what other platforms do you upload besides merch? I know you answered that a little bit earlier, but
I do. I've got some on Redbubble, some on TeePublic, Etsy. I've got one design on Etsy. That's it.
Gotcha. Okay. Here's an interesting question. I think it's a good one too. How do you manage your assets, like the vectors you reuse, like your PSDs, all of that stuff? Like, do you have a system to keep things organized? Because this is something that we have thousands of assets, and trying to keep all that stuff organized so I can find it when I need it is a little bit of a pain in the ass.
Sounds like a headache.
Yeah. They've got a new a file system on Procreate. I use that to keep stuff locally, but then I also use Google Drive for everything and make separate folders.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I barely learned about Google Drive, where I can just search for my like design. Like I searched from designs for like years ago, and I find them because I type it in, and it's like the file name, or how we put it. And I was like, dude, how come I wasn't doing this? Like,
Yeah, that's something that, especially like this is true both for AMS and for like graphic design, right? Have a naming convention, have a way that's consistent across the board for how you name your designs and how you name like your campaigns in AMS. Because when you start building up a lot of campaigns in AMS in the dashboard, it becomes a pain in the ass if you don't have that convention to be able to figure out like what this campaign actually applies to. And when you have 1,000 campaigns, you can't go through and click through the dashboard and click again to get to the design to figure out what the actual ad is. So the same thing with like when you're trying to find something, make sure that you know, like have a rough idea how you name things so you can find it.
Yeah, that's a very big thing too. Is like just take the time to actually name it correctly. So with Procreate, do you create logos?
Procreate's okay for doing logos. Everything's hand drawn. It's hard to do logos in Procreate, to be honest. There's other ones that are better. The new Affinity is better because it's got vectors in there. The one before that I used was Graphic, which was a vector-based kind of like Illustrator ripoff. Those are the best for the iPad. I wouldn't really recommend Procreate for logos unless you're going for that like legit hand-drawn. But I mean, Procreate, the big downfall with Procreate right now, it does not have text options. So right there, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You can't do shit with text. So you've got to use another program, and then you've got to go in and use that basically rasterized image and put it wherever you need it. So once it goes in Procreate, you got to have everything lined up. You don't have any options to do a curve to it or anything else. They've added warp tools and stuff like that, but it's not the same. So I would not recommend Procreate for logo design.
Okay, here, if you don't have to answer this question, how much do you charge for freelance work? Like, how do you charge?
It depends on the design. I know some people are like, oh man, I can't pay $30 a design. That's crazy. I charge more than 30 a design. So it just honestly depends. I mean, I might do a design for 30 if it's something simple, but most of my design ranges, starts like 60 to 80 and goes up from there. I mean, some of my stuff ranges up to like $300, $400, $500 depending on the design. So it just depends on the length of the design, how long it takes. Like I said, it was funny in the comments because I know Fernando watches my YouTube channel and I post a lot of stuff on there, and I posted that skull design. He's like, oh, did you make a YouTube video of this? I'm like, dude, that's like an 8 to 10 hour design. Like I couldn't make a YouTube video doing that. So, something like that, like, people see a design and don't know what goes into it, but design like that, like 8 to 10 hours, it's going to be a pricey design. That's like a full day of work. So
I'll be sharing some of your stuff in the group too as soon as you start. Well, I've seen that you I haven't watched your last video. It was like a week ago. I'll watch it and then I'll start sharing your stuff in the group too as well.
Cool, I appreciate it.
I love seeing stuff like I love seeing people's creativity, man. That shit's badass, like on a whole nother level. Like you kind of what was this person thinking about when they made this design? That's what goes through my mind. So
I mean that's the thing too, and that this is where like YouTube comes in handy, right? Like just dig deep and just start watching stuff, and you'll be amazed like what you pick up. Like just go down the fucking rabbit hole.
Yeah, like honestly, like sometimes like you look at a design, it's like does this person just walk outside and like see like a random ass tree and start sketching away? Like what is this person thinking about? So it's a whole nother level. Like when you guys come, like when it comes to illustration, for sure.
Yeah.
What are supposed to fix your logo?
What are some common mistakes that you see design wise, like with people's merch T-shirts?
Honestly, it's one of the ones that I see like designs that I do for people is if you do a design and you pay for a design, be sure you can do the text to go with the design. Right. So even though I say scale and know how to scale, and if you're going to pay for something, get your use out of it. Like if you have an awesome design and you do some shit ass text work with it, like it's going to look horrible. So I've seen that happen with clients. They're like, oh, I just want the image. You know, I can do the text. And then they send you like, oh, check it out. Isn't that awesome? And you're like, no, like it looks like garbage. So that's one thing I see, like, is people using text really poorly and not understanding just the basics of typography. If you need to learn about typography, you know, Young's got the typography book you can buy. But like learning about kerning and learning about, you know, like placement and positive negative space, like it means so much, and just getting everything placed together. That's the biggest thing. That and colors, not understanding how, like you said, like things look on the different shirts. I see a lot of people making bad choices with that.
Do you use a color wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something my wife uses it all the time. It's definitely something I think people should invest in because it's not expensive. And literally, like, can you explain what a color wheel is for the audience?
Yeah, basically, I mean, it's got your primary colors and how they go together, and complementary color. I mean, if you take one side of the color wheel and go directly across that, that's the contrasting color, to where if you need something butted up against, it's going to pop. That's the way to do it. And just finding those contrasting colors that are going to work and what's going to stand out, like in a design. There's also, I was going to post this in the groups the other day. Let me pull this up if I can find it real quick. There's a really cool website that you can go to that actually has a bunch of color combinations on it. It's totally free too. Nice. If I can find it here. Yeah, I found it actually just browsing through YouTube, and this is one of the guys' like pet projects that he does. But I'm gonna keep talking. I'll look for it and see what I can find.
Amber, I'm gonna put BeeJay's YouTube channel down below in the description right after this show. Right after I end it, I'm gonna go and edit it and put it in the description down below.
Hopefully, Artie's had some problems tonight with his computer.
No, man. That's another thing though too, BeeJay. Leveraging, like I've been talking about, like in the community, about us leveraging each other to help each other be more successful. It's a very big thing with me right now. For the last this year, I've been learning a lot about that, about just collabing with others, just making our life so much easier by helping each other to scale onto that next level. Because sometimes we get stuck. You know what I mean? We get stuck at that certain level where we know that we should be like 3 times above that level. So we can help each other. I've been talking to Chris Green about that too as well. And I'm just like, dude. And he's like, I totally agree with you. So that's a big thing. So as soon as you start posting more content and stuff like that, I'm gonna share your stuff a lot more, and just we can all help each other to grow. Big thing.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, like, why wouldn't you want to see somebody else succeed? You know, like give back and.
Well, I just think it's that whole growth mindset too, right? Like, just because I'm succeeding doesn't mean somebody else can't succeed too. And you know, I'd much rather have an expert talk about things like design and illustrations and those kind of things. Because while I have my own ideas, like I'm completely and totally self-taught. I know what I like, but that doesn't mean that necessarily like there's a background and I can explain why it works or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
All right, so I finally found that. It's called colorhunt.co. It's almost done like a social media type of thing, to where there's color palettes on there, and then you can actually heart different color palettes. So they've got like new ones, like the top favorited ones and stuff like that. But it gives you like a row of like 4 to 5 colors that are complementary, that go together, that look good on designs. But colorhunt.co, it's pretty awesome.
Nice. Okay.
Do you think Amazon doing 7 days of Black Friday starting this Friday will boost sales? Do you think that will happen, Matt?
I don't know. I know it should. The biggest thing is going to drive traffic to the stores. But I mean, you have a lot of people that are just holding off on spending money because they know that the best deals are going to happen on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So don't be surprised, like if sales kind of slow down a little bit right now.
I think Cyber Monday was big, right? Cyber Monday last year was
huge last year. Black Friday was shit.
Yeah, I think it was like I did over like 170 shirts in one day sold with Cyber Monday, I believe it was. It was crazy. My shitty designs were making sales that day, guys. Oh my god.
Cyber Monday. The one that I remember though is our buddy, and he showed his sales numbers. Like we were all talking, we're all excited, we're doing good. He showed his sales numbers, and like, oh, we fucking suck. there's always levels to this game. Like as good as you think you're doing, there's always somebody out there that's crushing it way harder than you are.
No, for sure, for sure.
Can't have an ego. I have a question for you. Along with like the color wheel and like contrast and everything else, is there any tools for type or typography that you can see like complementary fonts, things that go together?
Honestly, I don't use any. It's just more trial and error,
right,
for what I do. That's why I like to, if you're doing type and typography right on a design, some people are like, oh, like type design, that's took you like what, a minute to do because you just had to like type it. And like, no, I'll spend like, actually tonight, my wife wanted a shirt for her job. She does retail too. She's a retail manager, and they've got, you know, Black Friday coming up, and she's like, I want this on a shirt. So I designed the shirt. It was just type, and I took 45 minutes doing it just because I wanted to get, you know, the right, there was basically 2 sections of text. I wanted to get the right text up here that went with the text down here, and it was just trial and error, seeing, you know, what looked good. So, you know, just because it's a simple, you know, type shirt doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take 5 minutes. Spend the time to make sure. And yeah, I don't know if somebody in the comments knows of some place that's good for that, but yeah, like I said, with me, it's just trial and error of going back and forth. So
it's definitely one of like, so when you're buying premium fonts, like sometimes you can find fonts that come like bundled together, so they'll have like a complementary font that comes with it. That's always nice to have. It just makes everything just much more seamless when you're doing the layouts and stuff. But
yeah, we're coming to an end right now, guys. So if you guys
have any other questions,
more questions in, about to go eat some pizza. Pizza.
That's crazy. You guys are in California. I'm in Ohio, so it's like 10:15 here right now. So I've already done the dinner thing.
Wow, you said the wrong word. Eric Wood is going to be bothering you like crazy now that he finds out somebody else is from Ohio.
I saw you saying something about like Ohio doesn't. I had to look him up. So he's from what, Canton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from Findlay, which is like about 45 minutes south of Toledo. So I think I'm about like what, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away from him.
Gotcha.
Like that.
Tomorrow's his birthday, so Eric Wood, happy birthday, brother!
Happy birthday, Eric!
I was looking at his shit because I was like, "Where's he at, dude? He's being quiet today."
I know. I won't talk shit to you tomorrow.
He saw in the morning. He wrote me at 6 o'clock in the morning because I've been waking up to go to the gym early in the morning, and he's like, "Go back to bed." He's like, "You're never gonna beat me." Just talking shit.
Eric pisses people off, but I like him.
Yeah.
3C on the road. I'm in Cincy right now. Who's 3C?
That is Teresa Ontiveros on Facebook.
She's pretty cool. She's very supportive.
I was close the other day. I was down in Dayton.
All right, I think that's it, guys. Good show. Thank you for coming on, BeeJay. Appreciate it.
Cool, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
For sure. Send RJ a link to do you have a website for like your freelance work?
Yeah, my freelance work is just beejaydel.com, BeeJaydel.com, but I'll send the link to him. So
I have it all. That's how I found your YouTube channel. I was like,
yeah, it's got links to everything. Put my YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all that stuff. So
nice. Okay.
So,
sounds good.
If you guys do me a favor too, thank you guys for watching. If you guys do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to BeeJay's YouTube channel. Really appreciate that. It means a lot. And you guys have a good night. Thank you for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.